Hello, everyone. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we are living in Mad Max Britain. That's what I'm going to be talking about this afternoon. Mad Max Britain is already here. I'm going to talk about how the police forces across the United Kingdom could potentially be compromised. I'm also going to give you guys context, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. Now, this obviously I've been talking about this a lot, about the resignation of this guy, Craig Guilford. I thought I'd just jump on and do a real quick video about this just to explain what I mean in there, because I have been going on it quite a bit, and then we'll put it to bed because I understand it's taking up a lot of airtime when I come on my usual spots at 10 in the morning and 8 in the evening. So first of all, I want to explain what I mean by Mad Max Britain. And before that, even if you've not done so, please make sure you hit those buttons down below, the like, comment, subscribe, and share my stuff. So Mad Max Britain, what am I talking about? I'm talking about in the first movie, the Mad Max. There's this really peculiar scenario where they have a police force, but the police force doesn't really, the police force doesn't really have any power, and they just pretend to do stuff. And you've got these roaming gangs that roam around with chaps and chainsaws, swinging, wearing face masks and barbed wire and stuff. Although we're probably not quite there yet, the comparison prove me wrong that is not happening here in the United Kingdom. And I'm calling it Mad Max Britain. So I want to start by just giving, I'll share with you this article first, and then I'll come back onto, and I'll talk about it. So let me share this article with you guys first. So this is the article that I'm going to be talking about, this one here. West Midlands police chief should go over Israeli football bans, says Badenoch. Now, this is from January the 7th, but I just want to jump down here and highlight a couple of bits. So this is what Kemi Badenoch saying. She's saying, Badenoch said the force had capitulated to Islamists, had known extremists were planning to attack Jewish people and blamed them instead. And she's also got another thing down here. What did she say? Basically, it says down here that a lot of the evidence was made up. A lot of the evidence was retrospectively put in. And what I'm going to do is I will link this article. I'll link this article in the description of this video because it is chilling, guys. It really is. And the question I'm going to keep asking is, if this is proven now, which I don't think there's any way out this, it's proven that West Midlands police, you know what, I'm not even going to say it's proven. If West Midlands police, as Kemi Badenoch said, has capitulated to, Islamists, how many more police forces have capitulated? And if they have capitulated, do you guys see how now we could potentially, and I believe we do, have these gangs of community leaders that are controlling the police, doing whatever they want, and the police are too scared to, the police are just pretending that they've got authority? Do you understand where I'm going with Mad Max Britain? So let me give context, and I'm going to try and be as straight down the line with this as I can. So all this controversy, sorry, I forgot to speak. It's surrounding, in fact, hang on, let me put the chat on, sorry, before I start talking. So all this controversy surrounding the football game that was supposed to go between in Birmingham in November last year. Ahead of the fixture, Birmingham Safety Advisory Group, and I've done videos and I've named the people on those and the links that they have to other people, which includes representatives from West Midlands Police, Birmingham City Council and other authorities, decided to ban Maccabi Tel Aviv fans from attending, citing public safety concerns. The decision was primarily based on intelligence recommended by West Midlands Police amid heightened tensions related to the Israel-Palestine conflict, with Birmingham's significant Muslim population, around 30% as of 2021, we don't know what they are now, hosting frequent pro-Palestine protests. The ban sparked widespread outrage, including condemnation from the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. And I can remember at the time saying, if the Prime Minister can't reverse that ban, what power does he actually have? You know, but the Prime Minister called it wrong and suggested it could be perceived as anti-Semitic. Despite the ban, the match proceeded without the Maccabi fans, but saw protests outside, which led to several arrests. So at the time, the chief constable, Craig Guilford, Chief Constable of West Midlands Police, played a central role in decision making. He defended the ban publicly and in Parliament and in parliamentary hearings, claiming it was necessary due to the risk. Guys, sit down. You may need a stiff drink. This is what he said. And do you know what? I will link a few articles to this at the bottom of this video. I don't usually do that, but I will link quite a few mainstream media articles, and please read them, guys, okay? Because all the information's out there. And that's where I'm getting this information from. So he said it was necessary because of the risk posed by the Tel Aviv fans, the Maccabi Tel Aviv supporters, based on their alleged history of violence. And I'll come on to how fabricated this was in a second. This is what he said. Drawing from incidents like the 2004 Ajax versus Maccabi match in Amsterdam. However, Guilford faced intense scrutiny after revelations that West Midlands Police intelligence was flawed. He appeared before the Home Office Select Committee twice, where he initially denied using AI in compiling evidence, but later admitted errors. On January the 16th, 2026, Craig Guilford had announced his immediate retirement. So he didn't get the sack. He just got to retire with his full pension, you know, following a damning parliamentary report from His Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary and Fire and Rescue. It's a tongue twister, that, guys, it is. The report accused West Midlands Police of confirmation bias, failure of leadership, and exaggerated threats from Maccabi fans while understating risks to them. So the real risk wasn't from the Maccabi fans. The real risk was to the Maccabi fans. Home Secretary Shabina Mahmood stated she had lost confidence in Guilford, describing the findings as damning, and he cited the political and media frenzy as detrimental to the force in his resignation statement. Guilford, aged 52, had been in the role since 2002 and was not sacked, but chose to retire amid calls for his resignation from members of parliament like Kemi Badenoch and various other Jewish organizations. Now, this is where it gets dark. This is why I'm saying we're living in Mad Max Britain, where the police don't really have any power. You know, the police just pretend to have power. And really, we've got gangs of communities. I'm just going to say community because we don't know. But, you know, I can only, in this instance, it's a Muslim community. But we don't know what the other gangs are. And by Mad Max Britain, what I mean is the first Mad Max movie, you've like got the police and they've got the interceptors. They're pretty cool, right? Those interceptors are pretty cool. They're driving around in these interceptors and the leather chaps or whatever. They don't really have any authority. There's like kind of a police force, but nobody pays attention to the laws. And then you've got these gangs that do their own thing. That's where we are now, guys. We are in Mad Max Britain already. So, and I need to be careful about this. I want to be as straight down the line as I can with this, guys, okay? And give you this without any of my own opinion. So, from released minutes of the Safety Advisory Group meetings and leaked documents, it has emerged that evidence used to justify the ban was fabricated or retrospectively compiled. Initially, police supported the ban, citing absence of intelligence on risks. Think about that for a minute. The police made a decision, a very controversial decision, in the absence of intelligence. Sorry. There's that movie. What's it called? Not Captain America, Team America. When they say, we've got no intelligence. I'm imagining all the West Midlands police. We've got absence of intelligence. Sorry, I'm trying to be serious. Right. Police supported a ban citing absence of intelligence on risks, but later produced reports that included inaccuracies, such as a reference to a non-existent 2003 game between Maccabi and West Ham United. Later, they blamed that on an AI hallucination. The review found that West Midlands police, just honestly, guys, this is Mad Max stuff. Right now, this is Mad Max stuff. West Midlands police overstated the threat from the Maccabi fans, misinterpreting Dutch police reports on the Amsterdam incident, and failed to consult local Jewish groups properly, despite claiming they had. Critically, ladies and gentlemen, I will put the links to this in the description below. Critically to this, the real threat was not from Maccabi fans, but from local communities in Birmingham. Real intelligence gathered by West Midlands police indicated with a high level of confidence reports of elements of the community in the West Midlands region wanting to arm themselves to target and attack Maccabi supporters, including vigilante groups and Islamist extremists planning violence. That's not me making that up, guys. That is literally not me making it up. That is out in the mainstream, and I will put the links in the description. So rather than addressing these groups, rather than addressing these threats, rather than going and arresting the ringleaders, rather than, doing what you're supposed to do in the United Kingdom, following the rule of law, what West Midlands police did is they followed a mob rule and said, okay, well, we'll do as we're told because you guys are threatening violence. Sorry, I said I was not going to put my own thing in. Right. Rather than addressing these domestic threats, such as through arrests or increased security, West Midlands police opted to ban the visiting fans, a move critics labelled as appeasement or institutional bias. Dutch police also challenged West Midlands police's claims, stating that Maccabi fans were more often victims than perpetrators. Honestly, I know I've been talking about this for quite a while, but this is not getting the media attention that it should. This is not getting the media. People don't when you talk about this, just say that to yourselves. Now, we know this has happened in West Midlands police, right? Because this is out in the media, right? We know that. I grew up in Rotherham in the 90s. I could speculate that similar things were happening then. So if we know that this one's happening, how many more police forces are being manipulated by a mob of community leaders who are threatening to arm themselves if they don't get their own way? This has raised a broader question about police integrity in general. It's raised questions about decision-making, the handling of community tensions, and it poses the question to each and every person in the United Kingdom: who's really in charge? Because clearly, West Midlands police are not in authority. And when I say the only, when I say the ultimate, when I say things like the ultimate currency is violence, I guess if somebody can do more violence than you, they're in charge. That would be the right thing, wouldn't it? Because if you're in a war and the other guys do more violence, then they're in charge. It's crazy times, guys. It really is. Like I said, I just wanted to jump on to do a short live stream and talk about this. Right, let me jump up and get some comments. Craig is saying, Sean, I used to live next door to an all 7-7 bombers with my girlfriend and kids. Couldn't get in our home for weeks. Listen, I've got a friend. I've got a friend, and he used to live. He lives in Rotherham, and across the road from him, he didn't know what was happening. Right, there was cars and taxis all through the night pulling up and people going in and out of this house. Anyway, so he phoned the police and he said, listen, I don't know what's happening in this house across the road. He said, I don't know what's happening, but it's just something's going off in there. There's always dodgy stuff happening. I don't know what it is. Anyway, the police came out. They spoke to my friend and they actually said to my friend, they said, well, from what you've told me, we actually think that you're being racist. They didn't give him a verbal warning, but they gave him like a caution or something. I don't know. It's because like a verbal warning, it's like, even though it's a verbal warning, it's like written down or something, or it's documented. But they basically gave him a warning and said, look, what you're saying to me, you've got no evidence, it's racist. All right. Guess what? I mean, maybe like 6 or 8 months later, maybe even a year later, I don't know what it was. Later on, police vans turned up, raided the house. Yeah, they were doing the thing to the communities, like that certain communities do to young girls. They were taking them there. That's, it's crazy. Some crazy stuff have been happening. Helen is saying, so we seen for our own eyes, and yet they made evidence to prove otherwise. What chance we got? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Evidence was fabricated. Yes, it was. Non-existent game says it all, but Ayub Khan still says nothing was a lie. It's fantastic, guys. Listen, when I talk about Mad Max Britain, I was talking about it earlier on in the live stream, and that really happens in Mad Max, right? So now I've explained this to you. Can you see how we are literally living right now through Mad Max Britain? We're in Mad Max Britain right now. Please prove me wrong. Challenge me. Challenge me that we don't have a police force, or at least some of them, that don't have any power. From the evidence I've just given you guys and the links I've just shared and the links I'll put down below, tell me that we don't have a police force. Tell me our police force isn't in control. Tell me that our police force, tell me our police force is in control, all right? Or is it the mob? Because if it's the mob that's in control, like we've just seen with the evidence and the resignation of Craig Guilford, the mob clearly is in control, right? So now you have a police force that doesn't really have any power without the mob saying it does. People in Birmingham or West Midlands thinking that there's laws, thinking that there's legislations, thinking that people will come out and, and save them. But the reality is the mob's in charge. Craig Mawson is saying Craig Guilford should have been sacked with his pension. I think what you mean there is Craig Guilford should have been sacked and had his pension removed, which I think should happen. Look, can you imagine any other? Let's switch this, okay? Let's switch this. Can you imagine a scenario where? An organization made up evidence? Literally, football games that didn't exist, where they said, oh, these fans are violent, when the real threat is from the communities here. And then they present that evidence to Parliament and say it's real. Like, it's beyond, it really is beyond me, guys. It's just like, it's just like I honestly can't even I struggle with words. I struggle with the words. Right. Let me share this article with you, because I want to go through this article, and then this is only going to be a short live stream, and then we'll close it down. Right. So this is one of the main articles I was reading, and I have been following this for a while. So let's just go through this together real quick. We'll start here. So at the beginning of the live stream, I said this, okay? Kemi Badenoch said the force, West Midlands Police, had capitulated to Islamists. had known extremists were planning to attack Jewish people and blamed them instead. The Board of Deputies of the British Jews had called for the Chief Constable to be sacked, saying the force seemed to have made decision to ban fans first and then search for evidence to justify it. Remember, this is a bit of an old article. Guildford told the Home Office Committee that the decision wasn't influenced by politics. He stood by the accuracy of the intelligence, which was key to the city's safety advisory group, made up of people including police and local council representatives, issuing the ban on on the away fans. A letter from the Dutch police, seen by the BBC, appears to question evidence West Midlands police cited about the Maccabi fans' behaviour at the match in Amsterdam. So now you've literally got the Dutch police saying, whoa, we didn't say that. That's not what we told them at all. So it just builds up, right? The committee said it will request further information from the police in the Netherlands. So, this is a tactic they use to delay things. Members of the Safety Advisory Group deemed the Europa League match high risk because of unrest during previous Maccabi Tel Aviv matches. The committee also heard police thought vigilante groups from the local community posed a threat to the Maccabi fans. So this sentence here, and I will put this link. In the description, guys. So if you want to read this whole article, it'll be in the bottom. So this is the information that the police had, right? We got in a lot of information or intelligence to suggest that people were going to actively seek out Maccabi fans and would seek violence towards them. Assistant Chief Constable Mike O'Hara said. And this article goes on. It says how people, people in the local community plan to arm themselves. And I will put quite a few links into this, guys. Okay. Now, the reason I'm doing a standalone video on this is because I've been talking about this for quite a while. It's just fascinating to me. And if people don't think that we're already in a civil war, if people think that we are not in Mad Max Britain, literally try and prove me wrong, guys. It's absolutely bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. We really do have this situation in the UK where we, I'm not going to keep going over the things I've said, guys. I'm not, because I keep going over what I've just said. I'm just like, this is not getting as much media. This is not getting as much media attention as it should. Say that to yourselves. The police made up evidence to ban Tel Aviv fans, Israeli fans, said that they were the instigators when they had. I'll share it again with you guys. So the police in Birmingham made up evidence to say that the the Tel Aviv fans were a threat. That's what they said. When actually, I'll read it there out loud. We got a lot of information or intelligence to suggest that people were going to actively seek out Maccabi Tel Aviv fans and would seek violence towards them. Now, that's not me making that up. That's from the BBC, and that's the words of Assistant Chief Constable Mike O'Hara. And nobody seems to care. Nobody seems to care. We are in a Mad Max. We are in Mad Max Britain. We are absolutely in Mad Max Britain now, guys. It's absolutely bonkers. Michael is saying, Raven, I'm ex-army. I really don't think most people really grasp how bad and brutal things are going to get soon. Exactly. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next month, but definitely within the next few years. I agree. Look, I gave you guys I gave you guys my analysis of a civil war breaking out in the United Kingdom and the death toll. And, you know, we're densely populated. We're vastly diverse. And it's going to be absolutely crazy. Silly Galadi, who's in Israel, is saying, and you wonder why we need Israel. It must be nice having a country you can go to and feel safe. Right, listen, guys, I just wanted to throw this out there as a quick live stream. I'll be back on later on today at what time will I be on? Sean, I think police officers need to check a lie detector test before getting a job. I did a video, and they don't even do basic criminal record checks on. They don't even do basic criminal record checks on the police. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close this down now because I'm going to the gym. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to get Eye of the Tiger on. I'm going to get some Rocky on. I'm going to try and get my cardio up. I'll be back on the live stream this evening, ladies and gentlemen, at 8. Yes, I will. But I just wanted to, because I realized I've been talking about this quite a lot, because every time I think about this, it just absolutely shocks me. Shocks me to the core, might I add. Anyway, I'm going to close it down now. If you're on and you've not done so already, guys, please like, comment, subscribe, share my stuff. I'll be back on later, and I bid you good afternoon.